Live with Jane, Somin, Samin, and Melissa Jones. All right, and if you guys do end up wanting to see your chat, pull up your phones or whatever, and you can just go to YouTube and click the link. And right now, nothing there, so it's great. But this is all being recorded, so everyone's gonna go see this playback of 31 seconds of me just talking. But I am going to get started at about the 1 minute and 30 minute mark, and I'm going to do an introduction, even without us having anyone in, because as I said, this is going live and it will be published to the front page, number one. So we're not going to wait for people because I'm a new YouTuber. Whoever even thought this would be a thing for me, and not me. Uh, Except for, I guess, Mark back in the day. I don't know if you remember this, but Mark used to want me to do a YouTube channel on cooking. And he wanted to be my sous chef out in Shawnee. And he would bother me probably monthly over that. And like, we really need to record this. You know, all the neighbors come over just to watch you cook and me be your sous chef. And you tell me, shut the fuck up. Oh, I gotta watch my language too. Shoot. And that makes that. All right. Um, we are almost 2 minutes in. No viewers, but no problem. It's just us talking in here. Uh, Hello, everyone. I do welcome you to the Buddy Hunter Empowerment Guide page. I thank you for watching. I do have guests today on my very first broadcast. First off, to help me get rid of a little bit of my nerves. Um, and these are two strong women that I know. And at the very top right next to me, you have Jean Samin, and right below her, you have Melissa Jones. Um, these two women not only have been an amazing support for me through everything, uh, and they know me that I'm just a buddy. I'm loud. I can be obnoxious. Uh, I'm all those things. But they have also been through a lot of things themselves, personally, um, when it comes to things such as the loss of my husband with cancer. These two beautiful women have both survived different types of cancer, and we'll give you their stories here in a moment. Um, but with my health issues and everything, they have just been the backbone to being there for Mark, for me, and I appreciate them. The other reason that these two women are here is one of my biggest things these days is about being your authentic self. We have so many people around us, and they mean well. And sometimes you can wonder if they actually are meaning what they're saying. So that is your authentic self. When you are in different surroundings and different groups of friends, we act differently. When we go to work, we act differently. One thing with these two ladies, they are who they are. I went with both of them, and they have several different types of groups of friends that are all separate. You know, I mean, if you brought them all together, just like Mark and I's friends, um, they would not mingle well. And so these ladies' groups of friends are just like my group of friends. You bring us all together, they'll smile and do whatever, but there are side chats going on. Uh, but they don't ever change. You get what you get, and if you don't like them, then you just step aside. And that was me saying that in a nice way. Um, I absolutely adore these two. Um, I want to start off real quick and just state that Jean uh, was my next door neighbor right prior to us finding out about Mark's diagnosis. And when Mark, and for those of you that don't know, you'll learn as we go along, you'll hear me bring him up. But he was diagnosed, and instantly, as soon as I got approval from MD Anderson within 10 days, um, that we could do a trial there, Jean and her husband Chris, which I want to absolutely thank um, so much, uh, said, "We are going with you and we are driving you." And then to top that off, uh, Jean's brother and sister-in-law, and I'm going to mention them, Mark and Chris. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Uh, Mark and Lisa decided that they wanted us to be comfortable and rent in a van, and it's a process. Um, and Gene and Chris drove the whole way. I'm surprised we're still alive, truthfully, but uh, they just took off work. Chris took off work and took his vacation and went to Houston, Texas with us so that I wasn't alone. And I had support, and Mark had support, and it really did mean the world to me. So I thank you for that. Um,
Anytime.
Melissa and Kyle, my God, I mean, the stories we can tell. Um, we go back quite
Oh,
a
we will.
ways, but with Melissa, I didn't meet her till later in my life, um, after we had already moved to Chamonix, because I had hid from everyone because I fell in love with a man, and because I fell in love with a man, I didn't think my friends were going to accept me. And Melissa's husband, Kyle, and I are longtime friends. I'm sorry, my dog wants to go back on the side. Um, but I was complaining one day about a signal, and he reached out and said, "Hey, I have someone. If you're in Western Chamonix," and I said, "Yeah." And lo and behold, they were half a mile away. They had been living half a mile away from me this whole time. And so we meet and go out. Um, and then we're talking about going to the lake. And Mark's family has always had a place down at Palm de Terre. And they're like, "What? Where at?" And uh, what did Mark call it, Melissa? What was the name?
Away we go.
Away
Away
we
we
go,
go.
away we go resort. Return away we go resort. It's backed by firefighters, row, and all that, and they're looking dumbfounded at us because they have a place right there, and it's not even. I can't even call it a fourth of a mile. It's I don't know. I mean, it's right down the road. We literally had to pass by their place um, to get to ours. And so, even though I was hiding from friends and stuff, they were there the whole time without me knowing. And so, there is always a bigger plan. Everyone's got different beliefs. You got your God, you got higher powers, whatever. But there's a reason why we're all together. And these two women have stood by me. Uh, but short story, they were there and we stuck by each other. sins. And I want to go ahead and do two things first. Go ahead and tell Jean a happy early birthday. Uh, Jean
And
and I's
same to
birthdays
you.
are,
Yes,
thank you.
wonderful.
Jean and I's birthday are a day apart.
Happy birthday to
Uh,
both of you early.
well, thank you.
Yes.
And happy 20th anniversary to you. Uh, I am heading to Florida to celebrate their renewal of their vows. So I'm very excited for that. So we all have things that we are grateful for, and I have to try to look at it that way because my mindset personally doesn't always stay there. And even as an empowerment guy, I am great at listening to other people and being a support for them and guiding. I never give direct advice. I will listen to what you're going through, and from that, I will give back questions to you, and you will end up knowing deep down, which typically you know anyhow, but what most of us want is reassurance that what we are doing is correct. I will never, ever on my channel tell you what you should do. We all lead our lives differently, uh, but we are all human and we all have emotions. The bad thing is some of us tend to shove them down and don't show them. My problem, I wear them on my sleeve, and I can be overly emotional sometimes. So if I am ever working with you personally, or we are having a topic on here and I'm doing a live, and questions and stuff or anything, then if it hits me, then I'm not afraid to show that emotion. And I think that's what we're missing in today's society is that empathy, that compassion for each other. You know, I believe when you are walking down the street, don't be afraid to smile at someone. We all smiling at someone can change their world. I remember being at University Anderson, and we just got some other news, and I'm pushing Mark in a wheelchair, and I'm walking by, and this elderly man and woman just smiled at me, and as I walked by, this man just touches my shoulder without any words. It it touched me and made my day better because I also knew that they were going through stuff that was very difficult. So don't just think about your issues. You can be having the worst day ever. Put that smile on your face and pass by because it might change someone else's perspective, what's going on with them. And from that, hopefully, you make their day better. Who even knows? You might even save their life. So uh, that's what
Can
I
I
empower everyone to do.
can
Yes, go
I
ahead.
read? So ironically, I was mindlessly going through Facebook the other night, and I came across this, and I think it's perfect for what you just said. And it says, Ernest Hemingway once said, in our darkest moments, we don't need solutions or advice. What we yearn for is simply human connection, a quiet presence, a gentle touch. These small gestures are the anchors that hold us steady when life feels like too much. Please don't try to fix me. Do not take on my pain or push away my shadows. Just sit beside me as I work through my own inner storms. Be steady, be the steady hand I can reach for as I find my way. It's a quiet reminder that I'm not alone in a vast, sometimes frightening world. Hold my hand until dawn, helping me to remember my strength. And I
I
just thought
absolutely
that
love
after
that.
what you just said, I thought that was perfect for me to bring that in.
Oh no, no, that was absolutely it stated everything that it just said, and that's what it is. Um, Without that interaction and that kindness, I don't need you to fix me. I don't need you, and I'm not gonna try to fix someone else. But that interaction is what's missing, I feel like. And so when I started this too, real quick, was because I've been job searching. And so you go through a lot of different people that want to do your resume and do this or that. And I done that. I have worked with several people that are career or uh, advice coaches on what you should be doing. What was shocking is three of them come up with the same top three things. Two were almost identical, and the third one still had the top three things. But my number one for two of them was I was supposed to be a life coach. And I have put that on Facebook, and I will point out that it was Charlene Downs that pointed out, that is so everyone's a life coach now. And I don't, we're not doing this because I want to be hired or that any of that. I want, by what I want is a community where we can get together and talk and be open enough to share our experiences. So that's where empowerment got to come from. Because I'm not going to be your life coach. I want to empower you to keep your chin up uh, because it's tough. And especially during this time of year leading into the holidays, you know? So before we start touching base on the things that we are going to talk about, I would like each lady to go ahead and give a little description about themselves and what they have been through, if they don't mind. And I don't care who wants to start first. Jean, you want to go?
Sure.
Thank you.
Um, well, I've been through lots. It's kind of hard to know where to start, I
Well,
guess.
let's
But
let's let's start with the well, why you put something on my forehead one night. Start there.
okay, um, yeah. When I was 48, um, my current husband and I got married in October at a family bonfire. And then shortly after, in mid December, I felt a lump in my breast. And sure enough, I had breast cancer. And it was a very rare type. And of course, because my best friend said I kind of an overachiever. So if you're going to do it right, But
That's how we all have lived our lives. All three of us,
yes, pretty
truthfully.
much.
Yes.
So I have had what was called a triple negative breast cancer, and it's kind of a rare kind. So I had a mastectomy and had my left breast removed, and then I had I think about 16 weeks of chemo off and on, and then I had 4 weeks of radiation. And so this all went from about 1st of February to August. And of course, I was a teacher at the time, and it was kind of like, I don't think I'm going to be able to, finish out that school year, obviously. And here I'm a newlywed. It was kind of like, guess what? And my husband handled it quite well, actually. I had support from my whole family. I have a huge family. I'm one of 8 kids, so yeah. When I say big, I mean there's a lot of us, and but they were very, very supportive. And I have 2 kids, and then I had a new stepdaughter who was very upset, I think, at the time, and she was kind of like, "We just got you, this isn't fair." But I think I had such a good support system, and I also think I never really thought that I was going to die. And I don't know if that's naive, because now I look back and I realize how rare of the type of cancer it was I had. And at the time, I think I thought, oh, it's okay. I can do this, whatever. And I'd been through other things too. So it was just kind of another bump in the road, but it's a pretty big bump. But so, but I did fairly well with it, with the treatment. I still go once a year and see my oncologist. And, she made the comments to me, I have nightmares over you because I'm really just not sure what to do with you. And, that's not the first time I've ever been told that. So it was kind of like, okay. But I think my faith had a lot to do with it. From a big Catholic family. And I think I just kind of knew that, I'm going to do what the doctors say. You get a lot of unsolicited advice from people about, oh, you should try this magic mushroom iced tea. It's really good. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So you kind of have to be your best advocate at things. You have to, use your common sense, but you have to have some faith. You have to, do what they tell you and take care of yourself. And sometimes for those of us that take care of everybody else, that's really hard to do, is to take care of yourself. And it kind of
And both
changes
you
your
ladies are great at that. You both take care of other people
Mhm.
immensely. And that's one of those authentic things that I'm talking about. That, and not to interrupt you, but that is a huge thing. Is uh, and I'm going to go ahead and include myself there. That we tend to put ourselves on the back burner. Um,
Right.
and you doing that though is you're going to get through it. I also want you to please touch on. Um, she went through something very difficult recently, um, and it was back to back.
Yeah. Um, and this is because you talked about survivor's guilt. And I have had that because um, all of this happened with my cancer about 12 years ago. And then about 5 years ago, my oldest brother was diagnosed with a glioblastoma brain tumor, which is always fatal. I mean, it's just the type of brain cancer that, he had surgery twice. They did everything they could, and they gave him an extra 20, 22 months to live. But we knew it was coming. I got to spend time with him uh, because he's 11 years older than I am. And so even though we're from a big family, I wouldn't say we were really ultimately close in that way. But I think we really became close through his cancer. There was things that I could, give him some advice on, and his wife. And I have to say one thing, his wife was absolutely the best caretaker I've ever seen in my life. I mean, to the moment he took his last breath, she was taking care of him. It was unbelievable. And so that happened. I believe he passed on January 4th. And so it'd be 2021. So it's getting there to, it's been 3 years, but it still seems like it was just a few months ago. And then about 6 weeks later, both of my parents passed away of COVID, about 3.5 days apart from each other. So we had this triple whammy, and it sucked. I don't know how else to put it, but they were both in their 90s in very, very good health. I still have people say, well, were they in bad health? That's why they died of COVID. And I said, no, they really weren't. They were pretty amazing. My dad still could do the puzzles.
And I was going
They
to
were just
say,
sharp
he's
as.
great to have a beer, and he was great to have a beer with. I mean,
Oh my! I'll
so,
tell you what. He had a cocktail. They had cocktails every afternoon. They lived on their own. They still basically took care of themselves. And so when that happened, um, it was it was very, very sad, but it brought us all together. The other seven that we were still together, um, we were very fortunate because we were able to take care of them at home. We knew that, the outcome was probably good. My dad refused to go in the hospital, and so many people had died alone in the hospital. It was something we didn't want for them. And my you know my nephew is our general practitioner, so because of that we were able to make some options. My youngest sister is a nurse, so she took care of him 24/7, and then we all took turns. There was three of us with him all times, if not more, but one with mom, one with dad, and then one was the runner, cooking or cleaning or whatever had to be done. And we just worked as a very, very well-oiled machine. We did a lot of crying and a lot of laughing. I mean, there's times my brother walked in with my dad's Depends on, and we all about died laughing, you know. And I call it the most bittersweet moment of my life because they had been married 70 years. They always wanted to go together, and we actually had a double funeral, which I had never been to one, never realized. But I thought about it later. I thought, well, when people die in a car wreck, that obviously happens. And my mom was very frugal, or you could say cheap, and when this when okay,
Got one of those.
Wait.
that was
Oh, wait. You're saying that, and all I'm thinking, and I had this
is me.
flashback is, oh, you're saying, well, you're talking about how cheap she was, but Mark telling me, do not coupon my funeral.
Yeah.
Do not pull a buddy.
Well,
Don't be a
do not
buddy,
do
and do not coupon my funeral.
That's funny.
Of
well.
course I cried.
That's basically what ended up happening was because my oldest sister and my second brother had gone to the funeral home, and because we already had dad there, and they said, well, we don't know how to say this, but since your mom has passed, actually she gets a discount. And they both we all just busted up loud. It's like, she is so happy that
She
we
was
have a
ecstatic.
this is better. And so we had to find joy and happiness in some of this, because I mean, I don't know how my mom ever even raised all of us on one income. She had $20 a week spending money for 8 kids. And it's just like, you got to be kidding me. So she was thrilled to death. And and there were several priests there, so she was happy about that too.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was bittersweet. It couldn't be people couldn't come. That was always kind of their pastime, was going to funerals, and people couldn't come because of the pandemic. But it was televised. It was on YouTube, and everyone got to see it that wanted to. So, it turned out fine. But it took me quite a while to get over it. And this time of year is really hard for me because yesterday was my dad's birthday, and it was also my parents. It would have been their 74th wedding anniversary, and it always falls around Thanksgiving. And I was the one that always had them for Thanksgiving for the majority of the time. That was just kind of our holiday. And so this time of year is a little difficult because of that. But we're doing good. We still get together, all of us, and we all went to mass together Sunday and celebrated mom and dad. And that's what you do. You go on and you reminisce and you talk and you laugh and you cry. and it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful legacy that they left us, and we all
Well, you
still
guys
love each
all have been absolutely amazing, and I thank the whole family for also welcoming Mark and I in, to the family. I mean, when they have
Well, you
family
are.
gatherings,
In fact, my brother just
I
left a little while ago, and he goes, I don't know if you heard him. He goes, "Is Buddy coming for Thanksgiving?" I go, "I don't know. He has a family, but I'll ask him." And you know
yeah,
that you're always welcome at our house.
I know,
And
but the family
always,
and just opening their arms to Mark and I, and you guys having a private family event, literally saying, "Hey, the family's waiting for you to come over now. Are you coming? Are you headed
like,
now? We're waiting for
yeah.
you." So thank you for that. So
Always.
Mel, let me just tell you, her battle. Let's get into this one, because let me just tell you, we're going to talk about a warrior. I know Jean is. I know I am. I haven't had cancer. I've had some tumors and all stuff, but um, I, and we'll discuss Mark a little bit later. But what she's just went through, and uh, she's a cut up like a little rag doll.
Mhm.
So go ahead now.
Um, let's see. My life was moving along just fine until the age of 28. And I went to the doctor, and I think it's real important for people to know. And if you don't know who I am a huge proponent on educating people to save their lives. So I had 3 misread PAPs by 3 different pathologists. And I went to the doctor, and she said, well, you have cervical cancer. I don't know if you have 6 months or 60 years to live. You're never going to have children. And you have an appointment with an oncologist in 3 weeks. And I was 28. I was like, what? Is this real life? And unfortunately, it was. It was caught fairly early. I had to have a radical hysterectomy, lymphodectomy. I went through 6 weeks of radiation, and that came with, because radiation fries whatever area of the body that it is targeting, and so that came with challenges for years in the future. But so I made it through that, and that was in 2001. In 2004, Kyle and I got married, and we were together in 2001 ish, 2002. And he was very accepting of not being able to have children. We talked about the adoption. We had just started a business together, and we just decided that the adoption route wasn't right for us, so we chose not to. And then we got married in 2004. My dad was diagnosed with cancer in the end of right before, I guess it was kind of 2000, and it was like the middle of 2004. And he ended up passing away on my birthday in 2006. But everyone's like, every time I say that, people gasp and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, actually, it was the best thing. Even though the hospice nurse told me that men don't usually pass on a birthday or significant day. The last thing he said to me was, happy birthday to you. And so I get to have that. And so then 3 weeks after we buried him, my mom was diagnosed, and I lost her in October of that year. So kind of like you, not as close, but I mean, pretty close, back to back, losing.
You didn't get the discount.
I did not get a discount. And my dad was like, he was like, just do whatever's cheapest, because they were coherent enough that they were able to plan their own funerals and what they wanted. And he's like, I just want to be cremated and everything. And so before she passed, she's like, don't put me in the ground. Don't put me on fire. I want to be in a mausoleum. And I'm like, okay. So she's in a mausoleum. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do? They were soulmates. And so I was like, what am I going to do with my dad? Have his box of ashes. So they let me put his ashes in with her. And so they got to be together. So that was 2004. So going along, living our life, everything's good, you know, typical life up and down. And 2000 and we moved to Florida from Kansas City in December of 2019. We'll be here almost 5 years. And after the pandemic, well, the whole pandemic thing was crazy because we moved here and then there was a pandemic, and I was like, we're never going to make any friends. I don't know what we're doing. Do we move back? What, I mean, nobody could go anywhere. And so once that finally passed, and I love to work out. And so I started working out again, and like October-ish of 2021, I kept getting this horrible back pain. And I was lifting weights pretty heavy. But other than that, I felt fine. And I went to a gynecologist. They did a did a CAT scan, did an ultrasound, said I'm fine. I went to a urologist. They said your bladder's fine. I went to a neurologist. He's like, oh, you probably have a pinched nerve in your back. I'm like, well, how are you going to treat that? He said, well, I'm going to send you to physical therapy. And so I was like, well, I'll just do that on my own. And then it was actually Memorial Day of 2022. We were down at the beach with some friends and had a great day. And that night I started violently throwing up and throwing up and throwing up and throwing up, and went to the ER. And immediately they did a CAT scan. They're like, you have multiple bowel blockages. You're going to have emergency surgery, and we have to put an NG tube in. And I don't know if you've ever had an NG tube, but you don't want it. It's where they stick it up your nose and down into your stomach, and it's literally the worst thing. And conveniently, Kyle had come home to let the dogs out when they decided to put that tube in me, so that was super scary. But so I ended up in the hospital and for 4 days. And as soon as I got out, I called my GI doctor. I'm like, whatever's going on, you got to fix it, because I'm not doing that tube thing up my nose again. And he sent me for an MRI at 11 o'clock 2 weeks later, or an MRI. I went 2 weeks later for an MRI because, you know, insurance can't ever process anything like the next day. So then I had the MRI at 11 o'clock. He called me at 4 p.m. He's like, tell me more about your cervical cancer. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm 20 years out from that. They told me basically I had the same chance of a recurrence as somebody who never had it. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And he said, well, they found 24 nodules spread throughout your abdomen and pelvis. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, am I going to die? And he's like, we don't know. We don't know how bad it is. So immediately I called MD Anderson, and I found an oncologist here. And yeah, so then it took me down the road. So I ended up having to have a 9-hour debulking surgery, which took 5 different types of surgeons, because it was on my liver. I had to have a urologist in there. I mean, I had to have a colon doctor in there. And they basically cut me from, I won't say what I say normally, but from my breast to my pelvic area.
Cover JJ.
I say tit to clit.
Yeah. Okay.
But
that's being where they
yeah,
what we said.
Exactly. So they did that, and they had to remove my appendix and my omentum and a whole bunch of stuff. And so they had done so much secondary colon that I ended up resection of my colon that I ended up with an ileostomy bag temporarily. So that was fun to carry that around. And so I guess it was probably 3 weeks after my debulking surgery, my doctor, MD Anderson, called. She's like, well, not only do you, because I got diagnosed with low grade ovarian, which is rare. Super rare. There's only like 10% of ovarian cancers are low grade. And it can happen to anybody in their early teens all the way up until their 80s. So this ovarian cancer is an old woman's disease is completely false. People, if you're out there listening, that's false.
And I
So
want you
anyhow,
to
she
talk
called
about that
me.
more in a little bit and give your website and everything because we need to make sure all women are aware of this
Yes.
because I mean you push and are a big advocate for this and I want to make sure that we touch before we end today on
Okay.
that, please.
Okay. So then she calls and she's like, well, not only are you the proud winner of a rare cancer of low grade, she's like, God bless you. She's like, she's like, you also have goblet cell adenocarcinoma of the appendix. God bless you. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? And so then not only did I have stage 3C low grade ovarian, now I have stage 2B appendix cancer. And just threw myself and like I was just like, why is this happening? I mean, how does this even happen? So there, I'm like, oh well, there's 3 cancers. That's neat. So I know I'm going on for a long time, but it's a long story. So anyhow, I see that I go in and have my ileostomy reversal done, and they take out my entire ascending colon, part of my traverse. And so basically, I'm walking around with limited piping, which challenges me on a daily basis as far as bathroom situation goes. And oh, also, by the way, I guess it was maybe June, July, I got basal cell on my nose and had to have my nose cut open. So, yeah. But one thing I know for sure, and I will scream it from the rooftops, is that I would not be here without the support of my husband, because there was at least 2 times where I was going to take my own life during this past 2-year journey. And the thought of him finding me that way is the only reason I didn't do it. And my faith. My faith in God is absolutely 100% why I'm still here, because he has put me through, he's kept me alive to spread my awareness to people. And I really believe that. And so hopefully I'm able to do that. And people, females, go get a CA 125. I don't care how old you are. It's a blood test. Go get it done.
I have to write that down.
Yes.
Yeah. And no, seriously, pass it along. And I mean, she's been on the news down in Florida for this, and a big uh, proponent of making sure that people are getting these testings done. And so I want to make sure that she gets to give the websites and stuff because it's huge. And I just want to touch base on here. I understand what she's saying. When um, I mean, I want to touch base back real quick on Mark. Like first, the last place you should ever see one of your closest friends and spend time with them is at MD Anderson. And Mark and I don't know, spent more time at MD Anderson seeing each other than we got to in real life.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
so we not that we even tried to schedule our appointments around. We were just Mark and I just like moved to Houston in 3.5 months, and I missed that man because you both know, and I haven't talked with um, my followers yet, which I will get to at some point, but over my possibility over these years. Uh, Whereas I know both of you guys' faith is very strong, and Mark was extremely strong in his faith. I'm extremely weak in my faith um, because we all know and have discussed if we I was supposed to go first, and that
That's just the
was
thing with God. We think we know that, but we don't, buddy. We don't
well
know.
after going
I know that was
through
your
what
plan.
it wasn't my plan really. It was just the way things were and were
What
discussed
was
with
going?
us about. Uh, but I do know with reason now why things worked the way they did because Mark's tests were all clean for 8 months before, and then for him to instantly just have a late seizure, and he thinks he's fine, and I don't know, we go get that checked, and that happened on Wednesday, Thursday, it happens 3 times, and Mark does not cry, uh, but he's crying to me. And I said, let's go now. He says, no, we got to finish this class. He was teaching a government class. I got to finish my contract. And my class is going to graduate on Friday, but I promise you that I'll go then. Uh, and we go in and talk about how I got into it with a nurse practitioner because they tried to tell me that you can't have just an individual seizure in one portion of your body. And I said, yes, you can. Um, I can't remember the name right now. But I had Googled it and I had called my personal doctor and explained what's happening. They said it. And they said, well, it's just impossible. She's like, oh, you're just a Googler. You guys can probably just go home this weekend. It's Easter weekend. It's not going to be anything wrong. And I'm going to say exactly what I said is, bitch, if you don't get out of this room and bring me someone else in here, uh, I don't know if you're going to make it out alive. Anyhow, they did bring someone else in and apologize for the way things went. Um, and then told us that we would be staying. And the next thing I remember is them saying, we got a room for you. And we're sending you to oncology. And the doctors have already spoke. And there'll be 3 doctors be able to see you in the morning. And I knew good. I wasn't going to do this. So then they come in, I'm waiting. I told us that we had 2 to 8 months. So he was a fighter, and I'm going to jump off that. Except for tell you, I am so proud of him because not one day did he ever say why me. Uh, did he cry about it? I didn't even try to fight him. I would cry when he did in the shower. He just took the pain that came, uh, sat here, uh, that was to encourage everyone else around him that it was going to be okay. You know, we were going to be dealing with the most difficult part because God knew it easy. So, but he fought, and he fought, and fought.
Yeah.
So, and I look,
So, buddy, why? So, does that trigger your survivor's guilt at this point?
yeah, severely. The survivor's guilt comes in, and the reason why I want to talk about them is because of my health issues that I've had. Um, uh, surviving 4 heart attacks, a widow's maker, um, things like that. Uh, I got out of one hospital and I said, there's something still wrong. Uh, Mark and I went home and it wasn't anything else. I'm hurting. And so we go back to our regular hospital and they go in and do a heart cath and they come out and tell Mark we're doing emergency surgery. He has a widowmaker. we're surprised that he's even here. Uh, so the survivor's guilt is because I read so much, and I don't feel like he had time to like fight to. He didn't get what I got, and it makes me feel guilty, and I don't want to be here. Um, so it's just difficult. I didn't know it would be this difficult. I mean, he was my best friend. I mean, we got 25 years of life together, and when we started out, it's not like we were a normal couple because we had to hide who we were. He was the first guy that I ever was with. Uh, and I only was with him because I fell in love with him. We couldn't even say I love you in public. We would only say allergies. So it's just my world. I didn't realize our worlds were so dependent on each other's. We owned our companies together.
Mm-hmm.
We did everything together. Most people get a break from your spouse,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
I'm
most
right there
people
with
get a
you.
break from their spouse for 8 to 10 hours a day. No, we lived and worked together, and so uh, the survivor's guilt is just not the holidays; it's the everyday thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now during the holidays, it's making it even more difficult.
Well, and
Um,
it's also getting closer to the anniversary too.
and
You know.
that's another big thing. I mean, everything is back to back, and uh, for him last year, he had started to plan my 50th birthday party right before he was diagnosed or was getting sick, and was had this bar that he had picked out. That's my memory out, and we were going to invite 175 people he had on the list. Um, and he was so excited for me to turn 50. And even as everything progressed and I'm taking care of him and, have to lift him and do all that, he still wanted me to go out. And he tried to get some friends to take me out. And I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here with you. I'm going to spend my 50th with you. He felt guilty and he shouldn't, because that's what I want. And so he made me promise that we're going to celebrate our 50th this year. He says, because your um, milestone birthdays, because my grandmother passed on my 16, I think on my 21st. I think the only milestone that I really got to celebrate was my 30th. Um, but those other milestones that you celebrate, there was something happening. There was something to make happen that day. Uh, so hopefully I'll celebrate this year. Um, no, I won't. Um, so it's just a matter of that. That's the survivor's guilt, and that's why I want to talk about it. Because during the holidays, you go through it even more, uh, and depression and all that is real. Um, you can be a coach, you can be a guide, you can be a mentor, you can be all those things. And any of these people that try to put on the facade that their life is just perfect and they're all happy are straight up lying to you. We have emotions, we have the same dilemmas and problems and traumas that you have. Um, some of us are better at hiding it. I'm not one of those. So that is why I wanted to talk about survivor skill and during the holidays stuff. So, you get what you get with me. And if you can't take that now, then you can step aside. I don't need you in my life. And another thing that I've learned that people have told me is after the first couple of months, people are always there. Um,
Mhm.
but and then it wanes off.
Mhm.
But I wasn't expecting it to wane off to like to basically nothing. I mean, people that you were with all the time, you don't talk to. A lot of that is my fault. I have withdrawn um,
I don't know,
from
buddy.
society.
I don't know that it's your fault, um, because I experienced that. You know, now that I'm not in, you know, that I'm able to actually do stuff and live a quasi normal life, even though nobody really sees what goes on behind the scenes, all my
Right.
checkups, all my labs, all the CAT scans, all of
All
that.
your scars.
Yeah, all my scars, all of that. I mean,
Mhm.
I think that's just people see you and they're like, oh, okay, it's some time's passed. They're okay.
You look
Yeah,
great. You
Yeah,
look
you
so
look
good.
great. Yeah. And I think that unless you have been through a trauma, like the one of the three of us, um, yourself. I'm not saying caring for somebody. I mean, buddy, you've
yeah,
had your own health stuff, and um, obviously losing a spouse, I can't even imagine. It's hard enough losing my parents, but I certainly can't imagine a spouse. And I just think that people, they don't get it and they won't be able to get it, and that's okay.
yeah. It
And
is. It is okay.
I think our expectations sometimes, or we think, well, I can't believe so and so, I haven't talked to them. They reached out every week for months and now I haven't heard from them.
Yeah.
Or they
Because
reached out every week when your spouse was alive, even.
Right.
And that's the whole thing is I feel excluded also because um,
Yeah.
everything's
Were they
heavily
were,
related.
were they not really my friends? Were they only his friends? You
Well,
know, I
that
only cared
and
about Mark,
it's
and,
just well, I think it comes down to um, couples.
and that's part of it.
I
Yeah.
don't have uh, anyone with me now, so I'm always at third wheel, fifth wheel, you know.
You can
So
always be my third wheel, baby. You'll
thank you.
always be my third wheel.
Yeah, it's just that's it. Uh,
It is
I
hard
blame
though.
I blame myself too, though, because I said no to a lot of things, and then of course, people see us on social media, and I collect 3 months worth of pictures and post, and uh, if you can
Yeah.
see, I get 20 messages. I'm so glad to see you living your best life. And I'm
Because
like, that's 3 months of
because
pictures.
all they're
I,
seeing,
I
all they're
yeah.
seeing is a Chiefs game, or you're out, having a drink with a friend. They only
Yeah,
see good stuff.
but
We
but if
never
you if
nobody
you
posts
count those
of themselves crying.
days,
Right.
yeah, but you see the Chiefs game or I'm not having a drink, but you count those days, and you got 12 days out of 4 months
Yeah.
that I've left the condo.
Hmm.
I don't leave here. I mean, and then when I got injured this last month and broke my heel, fractured my heel, and then got bronchitis. I mean, I've just been locked up. Um, and that's my fault because it's not like people don't invite me sometimes. Um, but there's moments where I just can't. I'm emotionally just broken. I am a shell of a
I, th-
man
I think it's
that
okay
is
to tell
trying
them that
to
too.
put myself
It's okay to tell
together.
those people I can't do this right now. Thank you for the
And
info.
but that's when they, but that, and I have done that, and that's when they quit calling.
Yeah, hopefully it
So, and
will.
then that's when you question how good of friends are we? Because just because I can't do it and I said no 2 or 3 times, I'm sorry. It's just at that moment I really can't. I mean,
Mhm.
and there is differences when it comes to loss. I didn't realize that completely, until Mark. When I lost my father and my grandparents and lost my very, very close friends. And every one of those are different emotions and hit you differently. I, just because you lose someone doesn't mean that feeling is the same for each one of those.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so this loss has been totally different that I have not been able to rebound from as quickly. And still, um, once again, going back to authentic self, I will put my smile in. Um, but if you ask me, how am I doing? I will tell you I'm not great, but I'm not going to show up my face because I don't need to pass by because that person I'm passing by could be having an even worse day than me. So I'm going to smile at them. I don't need to pass on my negative energy. And I'm not going to say because I got negative energy, because I think that that's one of my problems is I pick up on other people's energies anyhow. And
Mhm.
so
Same.
with me being a listener, Um, and I don't like to use the word empath or anything, but I'm one of those like I don't watch America's Funniest Video when someone's skateboarding and they fall down and they're injured. I literally have a pain in the pit of my gut that I can't take. So, it's just one of those. It is what it is, and I'm coping the way that I can. And by starting this empowerment guide, I was like, let's bring a community together so we
I
can
think that's a
all
great idea.
cope and
Mhm.
talk about it. I'm not
And you know what?
ashamed that I get upset.
I think on that, buddy, I think it's okay to tell people what you need. When they ask
But that's
you,
not,
hey, do you want to go out?
I'm not
But
good at
that's
that
something that
asking.
maybe that's something that you could work on,
Absolutely. Oh, there's tons of
you know?
with this whole guide thing. This is a learning process also for me because this isn't beneficial just for others. This is going to benefit me along the way
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
myself. And like I said, this was not ever about trying to build a business or anything else, and that's why I was not going to use life coach, even though that's what they said my job should be. No, I can't be no one's life coach. Shit, I'm barely coaching my own life. Uh,
Aren't
so
we all?
yeah,
Right.
but
We're just
what
barely
I
getting by.
am always done, I mean, I remember it wasn't in a Mark having been gone 3 weeks, and I get a phone call, getting condolences, and uh, it wasn't even within 10 minutes that the conversation was turned around though to where I was helping them, and which is okay because they really did need it at that time. And so I'm always just been that go-to person that listens, and
That's
I'm
right.
good.
And sometimes people forget that even though we are the go-to people, we have crap too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And and I think I've had to learn this the hard way. Sometimes you just want to scream at the top of your lungs, like, I can't deal with your crap right now. I've got my own, you know?
Yep.
And it's hard to be empathetic when you're like, okay, I know you have this rough thing, but what if you had this? you
Yeah,
know?
you want well, you want to say that, but that's not
Yeah.
what you do either.
Right.
Well, you
Neither one
can
of
if
you.
it's a brother or sister, you can.
Yeah, I was gonna say one now, and now there's times where like Gina, you and I are talking, we will break down to each other.
Yeah.
But it's if someone else comes to us,
Yeah.
then we set our stuff aside,
Absolutely.
listen, and take on theirs. And the thing is, when you do take on someone else's stuff, it's not as if you just really get to release it. You know what I mean? It's still
Right. Not if you
within
really
you.
care. If you really care about that
If
person,
you,
you are
yeah.
you're absorbing it and you're
Yeah.
trying
So,
to figure out what can I do to make this better for you.
well, I think that it's just type of people. I mean, I do wish sometimes I could be like several people I know and just brush this shit aside and just move
Mhm.
on. And um,
But that's
I
not who we are. That's not who
no,
we are, though. We
no,
can't. I
no.
totally get it because there's times I'm like, okay, I wish I didn't really care. I
I
just,
Yeah,
literally just I had this conversation with my therapist. And by the way, I think that therapy, I wish everybody was seeing a
yeah. Oh,
therapist. I think
100%.
100%, but I saw her this afternoon and was talking to her about several different things. And
Did you tell her you were
that
doing
is,
this?
I did tell her. Yeah.
oh,
And she said the same thing. She's like, sometimes you don't always have to be the soundboard and you don't have to absorb everybody else's shit. You just don't have to. And you have to find a balance on that. And I was like, okay. She's like, we'll work on that. I'm like, okay.
Well, I wish you well, and if it works for you, let me know. But I really don't think I don't mind being there for people. Like over this last 11 months, it really probably has been my saving grace from taking my life.
sometimes it is.
You know,
Yeah,
um,
I would agree with that.
because I do feel needed. I know you guys love me. I know many people love me, and I know the after effects of doing something stupid like that. But do I understand why some people have made those decisions?
Mhm.
It's easier said than done, um, because sometimes you don't have that willpower or that strength. Um, and you have to be a strong person to get through some of the shit that we have. Uh, and some people just aren't that strong. And plus, I'm a big ass wussy. I would probably fail. So here I be over so
Well, something else
uh,
I've learned too. I think something else I've learned through a lot of this crap that I've been through. Um, I think it's okay to have a little chat with God and say, okay, I'm kind of at my max now. I'm not wishing this on
Mhm.
somebody else, but I don't think I can take much more. And, I think when people tell you, you're so strong, you can handle anything, and you just want to go, this is bullshit. I'm not.
yeah,
I don't have
well,
any
that's where I feel
choice.
like he doesn't
Doing this
listen.
today.
And I think that's
He
why I
does, I
question God.
promise you.
No, I mean, like I know how
And it's okay
faithful
to
you guys
question.
are, but you've seen how strong Mark was here too. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, he lets
And
out
it's
the
okay
window
to
every day
question.
and watch. But I don't believe right now. Um, like give me some warning. There wasn't. No, one thing I could say if I what about higher power or God is that I know you were super sad to see us move because it was such an instant decision. Um, but if it wasn't for that instant decision, I would have been left at that big ass house, uh, trying to deal with it by myself, next to you. So
Things
we
happen
got
for a
down
reason.
here. We got down here
Yeah.
for a reason. When we moved from Shawnee to Independence, we made it out there to start redoing that house. Just in the nick of time for his dad to spend a few months with us. Uh, and his dad just passed instantly. And we selling that house and getting in settled into the condo here. Um, then to get the terminal diagnosis. And I do want to also state this building, as much as I love all of you, um, this building has been a great support system for me and having a community uh, here in the building that will literally just knock on my door, they'll ring my doorbell, and I'm thinking, who the hell is here? Because the doorman didn't call anybody up, so it has to be someone inside the building. Uh, but they do not let you just me sit here, and if I'm going to sit here, well, then we're going to come and just sit here with you.
Sit with you.
And so there is a reason why everything happened the way it did. And uh, Mama C, and Mama C is Mark's mom, uh, my mom too, that I now, help, uh, and will always help because I've been in the family forever. Uh, but, then that's another topic. I just had conversations and stuff where it's just still being gossiped and talked about, and it's all getting really annoying to me, and I just want to run away from it all. Um, but just take all your shit, and I'll just go my way. That's it. But we're not gonna get there. But this building has been a godsend, and that's one thing that she has said over and over. You need those people around you right now. But they don't let me stay too confined. So, but well, we have touched on authentic selves, um, me, and survivor's guilt. You know, I think we've touched on how we are get through the holidays. Is there anything special that you guys do that you guys touch base on, or you make sure and do? Is there like new traditions or anything that you set forth, or any recommendations that you have for people out there that is going through things?
Well, I know. Oh, go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
I know when my parents passed, I bought a Christmas tree specifically for them. And each year I would buy 2 ornaments that reminded me of them, whether it was an angel or an H, because the last name was Heron or whatever. And so I would buy ornaments every year, and that was their heavenly tree. And it was all white and gold. And so that was one thing that brought me comfort when I lost my parents.
Okay, that's awesome.
That is.
It
And
is.
I'm still battling right now, um, which Mary Thomas, it's one of these things that I look back now, and I should have known at night, um, unless I knew what was happening. But he right there was holding my hand and wouldn't go to bed, but told me that's the most beautiful tree you've ever done. And if you were at our last house, we had like what 5 trees up.
Yeah.
But I had to have this damn 12-foot tree. This was
It was
unfinished, and it was the
gorgeous.
last one at Walmart. But he's like, it's one of the most beautiful trees you've ever done. And he says, I want you to promise me that you're going to put that up next year. And I said, Mark, you're going to be here. Just stop. Which we one thing I do want to touch base on, which I'm not sure that you guys are even aware of, is um, mid-December, you guys do know that you may know that we did the radiation of the brain. Uh, the MD Anderson trial was working for us. The tumors had stopped growing in the lymph nodes and lung area. Some had shrunk, but once it made it to the brain and it crosses that brain barrier, then it gets limited. Uh, they had suggested that we possibly not do this, but the only option of possibly keeping him there was full brain radiation. But with full brain radiation, we were going to lose who he was. And there was going to be a good possibility that he wouldn't even know who I was. And he held my hand and he said, honey, I think it's worth at least a try. And I was like, are you sure? And he said, well, it's Buddy's decision. I said, well, listen, I'm going to do anything possible because I got a treasure trove of memories to remind you of who you were, who you are, and who we were all together with the family. So you can forget me every damn day. It's kind of like 21st dates or whatever it's called. Um, but I'll remind you every day who I am. And if I gotta lift you and wash you to go all that every day, I'll do it gladly. Um, and yeah, my honey says, I think I want to try. That day, on the 30th, we went to the eye doctor because he was starting to go wrong in one eye. And went and the eye doctor says, yes, well, first off, you got an infection, but you are losing that vision, but we could stop it, but it's not going to be worth financially uh, what's going to cost. And I said, well, that's for us to decide, but uh, yes, we'll figure it out. And I think that as soon as we get this infection cleared up, we instantly are going to save his vision because that's what he has right now. He gets to sit here and look at the clouds pass by, and his pit house condo, he called it. Uh, Towards the end, we started calling it pit house hell because it was jail. He couldn't move. He's like, I'm stuck here until I can learn die. Um, and like shit, I wish it was a pit house because I wish I was all the way up top. Uh, but he was gonna fight. And he had me even believing that this full brain radiation was going to work. He scared me that afternoon because it was the first time because it made transport me moving from the high chair back to the wheelchair. But he was just so heavy, and he's literally dead in my face. And got one green eye from the dye stuff that they put in, and his beautiful blue eye. Uh, I mean, normally it's just simple, but whoa, this is a lot. And I'm getting moved, and he didn't talk for about another minute, and I I didn't know at that time he was away, but he ends up informing me later. I said, honey, please don't scare me like that again. You scared me today. I mean, like, you just looked like you were looking through me. And she said, well, I didn't want to say anything. Listen, but I seen you moving in towards me. And he says, and everything just went black. And he says, I don't remember you moving me at all. He says, I think I fainted or was going out. And he says, and you kept yelling, Mark, Mark. Um, and so I should have known. But we left from there. We went and got our driver's license because mine was expiring because of my birthday. Uh, and of course, 1st of December. His is in January, so we always wait till he gets his little card so we can go and DMV together. Let's not spread this stuff out because DMV is horrible. Uh, and they did. They were wonderful. They took us into a private room and let me take off this eye patch and clean him up. We surrendered his license and got his ID. Um, and while we were there, uh, and I'm glad I did it, he was so tired. He said, "I'm so sleepy. I'm so sleepy." Yeah, I said, "Yeah, but mom's right down the road, right? I mean, it's a wheelchair, eight, 9 doors down, whatever. I don't know. But we're gonna go see mom." And she says, "All right." And so we went down there and we see her and spent 10 minutes. Um, and we come home and all of a sudden he dozed off for a little bit and laid up and then he had all kinds of energy and betting and I was like 8 o'clock. You ready for me to get you dressed for bed and stuff? And he said, "No, uh, I think we should watch a show." And yeah, that went on for a while and he kept just telling me, "One more, darling. Darling, can we do one more?" And he just kept rubbing my hand in between and yeah, we reminisce about a lot of things. And we had some great talks. He tried to tell me that he wanted me to fall in love again. And I said, "I wish you'd just stop all this." And that's when he decided to tell me what happened at the doctor's office. And we finally, a whole episode of Murders in the Building. And he says, "I think we can stop now." I said, "Good, because I'm tired." Not thinking that something's happening. I'm just already getting only like 3 hours of sleep a day. Uh, and I take him and he said, "But I want to go to the bathroom first." And not to be gross or anything, but he's in there and you can't hear him talk. And guys, probably like this. And not that you even heard that probably. But he couldn't talk. And so every 5 minutes, I'm getting up and going and checking. And after 30 minutes, I'm up to me and getting off the stool and all that. And he tells me, he says, "I just had the best shit that I've ever had." And he says, "I think I'm going to sleep really well tonight." I said, "I'm glad that you did, baby." He says, "It's been so hard to go to the bathroom. This was just great." So I get him all tucked in and all that. And uh, we always I did 3 taps a night, you know. And he grabbed my arm and I said, "Listen up." He says, "Can I have 3 more so I sleep really, really good?" And so I said, "Of course you can." And I gave him 2 more. This is going to be the best night of sleep I'm ever going to have. I look at all that now because why did I not see it? So we got him all put together and get everything else done. And I finally put him in bed at 4:10. And he had it on my hip. He said, "You'll always be my cherub angel." And that's how I decided every one of my cards for year one. Love your cherub angel. And at 6:32, my world changed. So I'm gonna stop that part there because the next portion just gets even more traumatic. So that is the survivor's guilt part, and I deal with it every day. It's but it's okay. I'm gonna get through it. Uh,
You are going to get through it.
well, I'm strong. It's just a battle I struggle with, and
Mhm.
I'm okay with sharing with people now.
That's good.
That
And
is good.
because I'm not the only person in this world that has battling anything, so uh, we're gonna build this page up, and I'm gonna continue to be support for other people, and within the group itself, we are gonna find others that will be moderators of the group that people can initially just reach out to. Um, it's almost like a crisis hotline before you ever even reach that point. We can't talk you up to share. You need to go ahead and call the what is it, 411, 911, not well, 911, whatever the suicide hotline is. But before we get there, um, just know that people are here and people care,
Yeah.
and that's what this whole page and my drive is about. So, and you two have been absolutely amazing. Mel, do you want to give us information on the Alvarian site?
My page is Mel's Fight Club and Road to Remission page on Facebook. It is private, so if anybody's interested, you'll have to request for me to approve. I didn't want any spammers in there. So I'm real and honest in there. And I
Yeah,
tried
she is, and
to,
that's the best thing about all of this is uh, we're not sugarcoating
mm-mm,
anything, and
no,
that's
I
what
show
we
my
all need to do.
scars. I
Oh,
show, yeah, so anyhow, yeah, amen. Amen. Uh, oh, but I think this is a great idea, buddy. And I think that, I think that you should get more people on that can share their story. Everybody's got a story. The stuff you see on
Absolutely.
social media is social media. It's what
yes.
people want you to see. It
And
is not real life.
the bad thing is, so many people believe that is your life. And listen, when I even post me being at the Chiefs game or a group of photos and you see 30 pictures there, I mean that's multiple months of me combining things that. Yes, am I living my best life on that at that moment? I am, but those moments are so rare. I don't post daily,
And
but
you don't owe
that's
anybody
okay.
an explanation.
And no, I don't. I 100% don't. But it is amazing to me how naive people are
Mhm.
when it comes to you see social media posts. And and the problem
That's a
is so
whole
many
nother
people.
topic.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
so many people are
absolutely.
literally doing that to try to impress and live this wonderful life. Um, I wasn't. I was trying to show that I was just living, but then I get all these texts and these messages, and I'm living my best life. No, I'm in the worst part of my life ever right now. I don't have my best friend with me anymore.
That's right.
Um,
Mhm.
um, that's scary too. So I
Well,
50 years old and
if you decide you ever want to have me back on, I'd be happy to get on and talk about the whole social media thing. Like it drives me
Well, I think
Literally.
that's a wonderful topic, and both of you, if you have a topic that you want to ever discuss, are always welcome on this page because this isn't just about being authentic self or self-awareness and all of that. I want to talk about everything because these are things that we don't touch base on, and
I agree.
I mean, as I talk about authentic self and these facades, social media is the biggest facade of them all.
Yeah.
And we put this, and listen, I don't think that a lot of people are doing it intentionally. You don't put it on me putting me being at the Chiefs game is not me putting a facade on.
No.
I'm at the damn Chiefs game. I had a good time. Um, but people see that and think
And
you
they
live this
judge.
they judge, and you live this extravagant, wonderful life, and oh, there's a lot of hurt and
And
I
the
don't
reality is that you don't get to judge me till you've walked in my shoes. And if you want to walk in these shoes, good
gladly.
luck. Have at it.
Yeah, no, I
Absolutely.
definitely think that's a topic that we should broach, and as I am also learning to add these things where, I'll have you start saving, and I'll be able to share because I have the capability. I don't know this program 100% yet, uh, but where I can throw in a video that we can watch and also do live reactions to, you know, and then discuss.
Very cool.
So,
Yeah.
but I absolutely, you too, I love to pieces and the
We love
support.
you too.
I love you too. You know.
Uh, this, yeah, I not only I actually 100% know that, but the support um, has been amazing, uh, and thank you to both of your husbands and especially Chris. I mean, Chris having Gene, Mark, and I in the car, and Chris is French, and so you know. Should think he thinks it's really funny too. You just gotta look at him and say, yeah. But him having all three of us in the car, that man is a saint. Well, shit, him dealing with June period is a saint. I love you.
I love you too.
Well, do either of you have anything else to say?
No. I just always wish you the best.
Yes,
You know.
I wish you
absolutely.
guys the best. I want you guys to have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Same to you. And then
And
I get to see you.
you get to see me. I Jane's birthday is on Sunday.
Yeah. And your Monday?
So the first, and mine is on Monday.
Mhm.
Happy
And then
birthday, Jean.
Thanks. I won't ask what's older. That's our
well,
joke.
well, no, I was gonna say now she is turning 41 this year.
Right. Oh, we're going backwards, are we?
Yeah. So,
I don't mind to say I'm 60. I'm proud of it. Hey.
hey,
Good for you. You don't look 60.
no, she
Thank
doesn't.
you.
And she doesn't act it
I
either.
don't act like it either.
No, not at all.
I knew that was
So,
coming.
but on when I see you on the 6th, your anniversary's not until the next day, so you don't get the whole damn weekend. I
No, we're
think
going to celebrate you.
I think Friday is Buddy's birthday pre-wedding. We'll do a halvesies. Well,
Okay.
we'll go out and after you guys drive back and forth. Uh, I don't even know how you guys plan on working this.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
catch you up on that. I'll text you or call
Yeah.
you.
All right. Well,
All
I
right. Well,
thank you,
thank you.
ladies. And listen, everyone out there that ends up watching this, I don't know if we end up touching base on anything that you guys have felt or feel. Don't ever hesitate to like, comment, hit the subscribe button below or the bell so you get notifications. We're also on other social media platforms. So at the very top, you will see a link tree link that will lead you to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Um, I think that's it. Am I missing a social media? It doesn't matter. Whatever you can do, reach out, like one of those. I will greatly appreciate it. It's very uncomfortable asking people to, hey, follow me. Please hit that subscribe button. But that's how we do grow. And I'm absolutely amazed at the support that I have received so far. And one last thing that I do want to touch base on, if you guys do go to Facebook or Instagram, uh, I don't know if I posted it here on YouTube or not yet, but for my birthday, and not that anyone owes me anything for my birthday, but I am having a fundraiser for Mark, in honor of Mark, for it's called Angel Flights Central here in Kansas City. When doctors call and say, hey, we need to see you, this uh, non-profit steps up and finds pilots and people with planes and will fly you. And they have east, west, central. They have angel flights everywhere. Uh, but this is for Angel Flight Central. Um, if you have a child, they let two parents go. If you are an adult, you have someone else that can take you. As long as you are able to walk to the plane, the private plane, and possibly step onto the wing, they will do that. Other than that, then what they do is they will go ahead and buy you a plane ticket with Southwest and make sure that you get back and forth to your doctor's appointments when you have an illness that, and we're not talking about colds here, kids. We're talking about severe illnesses, and they were a godsend. So, if you could go also, besides subscribing down below, uh, go and donate. I'm not getting 1 cent of this. Uh, it is, I want to be able to give back to this angel flight for them to continue to help families, children, anyone that needs it, because they are absolutely amazing. Just like the ladies that I have on here tonight, I thank you. A round of applause to you. And you guys went an hour and 38 minutes.
I know.
Whoa. You're thinking, shit, it's past my bedtime.
Yes, I'm
Jean,
old.
It is.
well, it is. I seen Jean's one eye start closing. So, all right. Well,
Thank
I
you,
love you
buddy.
guys. I'm
Bye,
going to get logged
Jean.
off. I know it takes a few seconds for it to stop streaming. So don't just jump up this yet, you guys. I'll let you know as soon as it ends. But I'm going to hit stop now. Good night, you guys.
Nice.